Moncher Psychologist, 10 Qualities to be a Psychologist. Moncher is a psychologist. Many human beings believe that being a psychologist is about memorizing a few assessments and listening to the sufferers speak all they want for several hours. However, there are numerous more necessities at the back of the profile to be a psychologist than people might imagine. So in case you're reading this newsletter, then chances are you are trying to discover if psychology is for you, or maybe you're just curious about it. Whatever the case, this text may be very beneficial for you due to the fact we're going to evaluate 10 common traits that had to come to be an awesome psychologist, and by the point you end studying these facts you will have a much better idea of the expert that guarantees mental health for others. 10 characteristics to be a great psychologist. 1. You need to deeply understand yourself. The professional of mental fitness is aware that on the way to certainly recognize others, you should apprehend yourself first. So if you need to realize the reasons for your problems and your personal movements, psychology can be for you. 2. You're curious approximately the conduct of others. Just like with yourself, you furthermore may want to find out the motives for the moves of others. A psychologist must be able to get profiles from other people and has with a purpose to expect conduct. 3. You like to help others. First of all, psychology is a profession centered on being supportive of others. Just as in medication, the psychologist's #1 feature is to offer help to the patient. Therefore, the psychologist has to be interested in the properly being of others earlier than the cash obtained for consultations. 4. You're empathic. This means having the ability to apprehend the issues of others and notice things from their factor of view. In addition to that, the psychologist should realize the way to establish a powerful communication and the way to construct belief with their patients to help them higher. 5. You're analytical. Any good psychologist must be capable of remain calm in front of a robust emotional scenario by way of one in all his sufferers. Also, he ought to be capable of seeing matters coolly whilst essential, since it does not help everyone if both of them, psychologist and affected person, see matters negatively. All in all, the psychologist is a guide. 6. You need to have an open mind. As a psychologist, you ought to be inclined to attempt new tactics as they start to seem, which means you need to continuously improve your expertise from scratch if it's miles essential. You have a commitment along with your patient, which having handy the most effective remedy to help her or him better. 7. You ought to have persistence. You need to be able to persevere. Sometimes you'll come across folks who are not so open to talk approximately their issues or be given your help right away. You have on the way to wait patiently for lengthy periods of time, even though there isn't any apparent reaction. 8. You want to be responsible. What you continually need to remember is that the fitness of a person is in your hands. A psychologist has got admission to quite a few records and research that gives him outstanding know-how about how human beings act and the motives why they do it. Never use this understanding to harm a person. You need to be an ethical character. 9. You have to be tolerant. During your career, you may cope with people very distinctive from you and with other traits. You ought to always appreciate and now not decide any distinction in someone else, faith, customs, beliefs, and so forth. You have to receive those human beings as they are and no longer allow their differences to affect your overall performance with them. 10. You have to have passion for the topic. Moncher profession, you should sense inside you that this is what you want to do for a residing. Some approaches to recognize if you have passion for psychology is that you feel you may talk about the subject for hours. Also, you want to get facts approximately this subject constantly because you love to examine, not due to the fact you have a responsibility to study.